style, which would be, the Miami Dolphins. And, of course, Coach Don Shula. I got to meet him once. I know the Dolphin players. I've met them at various times, along with a lot of the New York Yankees, and which was extremely interesting. I've been very blessed. And I look back now, and sometimes I take it for granted. And sometimes when I step back and I see what's going on today, which is missing with a lot of the youngsters, I just feel blessed to have played during that time period.
Okay, well, all I can tell you about Hollywood is when I lived there from 81 through 84, the two areas I lived in were one, the 100 block of Buchanan Street, a small, tiny efficiency apartment, 100 square feet. And then, for what I needed in college, it was all right at the time.
Now, where was this, Scotty? In Hollywood, Florida?
Yeah. And
okay.
And then I also lived in another small place on the 2400 block of Lincoln Street. So I know the area that you're talking about, and having been there recently, what they've done to that Hollywood area, Bill, is just unbelievable. And I used to love going to the beach.
Can I ask you a question without interrupting you?
Sure.
You remember the big circle in Hollywood?
Yeah, Young Circle.
Yeah, Young Circle. Where did you live in relationship to that?
Oh, within about 5 minutes.
Okay.
I was really close. Yeah, I know the area you're talking about, Bill.
I got it.
And what they've done to it nowadays, it would blow you away when the time comes that you go back there. Hopefully, if you do, I would love to be there with you. You'd probably protect me from myself is what you do, but that's all right. At least you won't be bouncing me. You'll be bouncing anybody that dares to jeopardize the brand of what we're doing. So, but yeah, Hollywood was a great town back at the time, and wasn't developed downtown area. But now, if you see it, you would probably recognize it. And I used to enjoy going to the beach. They've got, when you see the development, Bill, you'll be definitely quite impressed with what they've done there for sure. So
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Scott, I will tell you this. Okay. It was most of the clubs down in Dayton, Broward County,
mm-hmm.
I would say there were, maybe 100 clubs down there at the time.
Right.
And there were probably a handful of them that had licenses to stay open until 6 in the morning.
Right.
Sammy was one of the guys that basically went in and greased the people that run the city of Hollywood. And they were older people that had been down there for years, and they expected to get paid.
Right.
In order to be able to exercise the license to stay open until 6 o'clock in the morning. And I got to know Sammy really well, and I feel really blessed to have had him. Because how back then we didn't have OTAs.
Right.
Nobody was paying us in the offseason. So you had to be smart with your money to be able to stay in the game. And that's what really separates, I believe, guys that are pros from guys that aren't pros. You've got to be smart with your money. You've got to be, it's kind of easier for them these days because they have OTAs and they get paid. And they also, some of these guys get bonuses, and some of the higher round draft choices, they're bet for life. And half these guys can't even play,
right.
And you kind of sit back, so you have the haves and the have-nots. So here you are, an Ivy League guy, free agent walk-on. You're lucky enough to make the roster. You've made some impact on your team, but you got to come down. You got to handle your business, and that's what separates a lot of the guys. Going in the second year of the league, it's very competitive. You're supposed to get better after your first year, and I see a lot of that with some of the guys in the league that kind of drop off after their first year. And they have the sophomore jinx. And they're still getting all this press because it's now entertainment. It's not a sport. Because they've got so much money invested in stuff now. And a lot of times it's how great you were in college, and a lot of times it doesn't translate to the National Football League. But they're getting better at it. Don't sit there and tell me Joe Burrow isn't an NFL guy. He's been running the NFL offense now for 3 years. All right, and he's been, serious coaching. In fact, his coach is so good that he just got drafted by the Carolina, team. Just got brought in by the Carolina team to be the OC. So back then, guys like us recognized this, but the system hadn't developed fast enough to absorb what they're doing right now. So it's finally catching up to what we used to do. But I used to have to sit there and, sit back there. I felt discriminated against. I got a Princeton education. I can't get a job as a broker because my job is seasonal. And I sat there in job interviews I got a Princeton education, and I'm the center for the New York Giants, and you won't hire me. Right. Okay, and now they have an apprentice program. I was thinking, where was this? We've had to crawl, fight for everything that we've gotten. This is why I kind of relate this to what the WNBA is going through right now. These women just got another collective bargaining agreement signed. Most of the girls that are the stars in that league are playing for $140,000. They're barely getting by. That's the star players. So now they've got to bump up an income to $250,000. That if I'm getting paid $250,000, I feel like I'm a star. Right. I felt when I was playing professional football, I felt really good about being a professional athlete, but I felt like I wasn't a professional athlete because I wasn't getting paid anywhere near what I felt, guys should be getting paid.
Right.
And it's so there's a little bit of hypocrisy. That's where the wildness in me comes from sometimes. When you're sitting here and you're making more money working as a broker and bouncing than you are playing center for the New York Giants, because these guys are a monopoly and they don't want to spend the money because they don't have to. There's no love lost between management and players.
Right.
Okay, and the NFL PA is so what I consider impotent that hopefully they'll drag this out when we have a strike and give these guys a bigger percentage of the pie. Because I'm sitting back and going, man, the work that I put in was counterproductive to what I was getting paid.
Right.
And so like that's one thing that we'll talk about in our audience. I actually know what the players are making, and you'd be shocked. You'd be shocked. And the American public doesn't know that because the NFL controls the media. So over time, I think we'll be able to bring some things to the table that will make people be more realistic and have a little bit more respect for what's going on. I think this is one of the reasons today why some of the guys are building brands. I mean, I laugh at, I have a love-hate relationship with Odell Beckham. I bet you if he was my teammate, he'd be a great friend of mine. All right? But when I see some of the stuff he pulls, like he was down there the other day handing out money to the LSU guys, and I'm sitting there going, Odell, I get it. I understand you want to pay these guys because you're trying to make a point. Okay? And some of it was fake money, but some of it was real money, I'm sure. But he could have done that behind the scenes, but he got the press, jumping all over him. At one point, so on one hand, I'm going, Odell, I love you for doing that. On the other hand, the platform that you chose to do it, the media is going to make you out to be bad. And that's what we're going through right now, both in politics and everything else. So on one hand, I love these guys that stand up and try to overcome, what I call the bureaucracy. Okay, they're trying to keep us down. On the other hand, a lot of us have been doing it for years in a quiet way because we don't want to be run out of the league. And everyone is disposable. Trust me when I tell you that. And so you have to learn to play the game within the game. So living down in South Florida, living down there back in the day, I feel like I was blessed because I just think we had more fun. We were less uninhibited. We got a lot out of the game. It's great because people just love you as a professional athlete. And when you say you played for the New York Giants, that carries a lot of slack. Okay, but at the same time, you're going, geez, it would be nice to be able to drive a nice car instead of buying a used one. It would be nice to be able to go out and buy a really nice wardrobe. Okay, so I've had to fight and, crawl for everything I've gotten. Okay, because when I was a kid, they were kind of giving us a false narrative, okay, on what we were making, on what you could be. But I didn't play ball for the money. I played for the love of the game. And what I got out of it was a lot of great people that I've gotten to meet, and it's just a tremendous lifestyle. And it still radiates through me today. And I really, feel like I'm an anomaly because I'm 65 years old, but I run young, and I have a lot of energy, and I love life. So, and I've got so many great friends, and I can go all over the country and dig them up at times. Or now with Facebook, I'm able to connect with some guys that I literally haven't talked to in 35 years. It's like we picked up and left off. So I feel like I'm being recycled as a fossil and being dug up but we have a lot of wisdom to give our audience in a lot of arenas. And one of the things we're going to talk about today is just living down in South Florida, what it was like, the people that I met. Right. So, I just want to come up for air a little bit, but I just, I think, we should talk about this a little bit more. Hell, I didn't know, Scott, you lived in Hollywood.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Remember Dania Highlight?
Very much so. Bill went there a few times.
Okay, we lived in a condo about a mile from there as you go down, towards the beach.
Yeah, Dania Beach.
It was on Dania Beach Boulevard, right? Yeah. There was a condo they had just built them.
Right.
Okay, so I lived with a couple of bartenders there, and it was just a great lifestyle. But I was up in the morning, lifting weights and running on the beach. I got in tremendous shape. Huh. There were a handful of guys down there, and a lot of them were lifeguards.
Right.
Okay, so for us, it was just, hey, we're lucky. I'm up north, and I'm not freezing my patootie off.
Right.
I'm down here in the warm, where everybody else is working 9 to 5. So I just felt blessed. That was reward enough for me. But as I got older, I'm sitting there going, there's a financial current to this. I can't be sitting being 27 or 28 years old with an Ivy League education and be broke by the time I'm 27 or 28 to be a little busted up. And then I have to go into the real world, and have a real world that discriminates against me because I didn't start working for a company when I was 21 years of age.
Right.
So I have been an independent contractor all my life. Okay, right. and it's a mental toughness thing. When I finally got a job as a broker, I got it from a word of mouth with a gal who worked for Bear Stearns up in Montreal. And she made a phone call to 3 guys that had a small brokerage firm called RLR Securities on Oakland Park Boulevard as you head out towards Lauderhill. And I sold over-the-counter stocks, and I was the beast. Our first company that we sold was Chagrin's. It was a wine and cheese gourmet shop, in Boca Raton that was going public that didn't want to use bank financing. And I would sell a $2 stock, and it'd be, they didn't have the 5% or 10% markup rule in it. So I would make $1,000, selling $5,000 worth of stock. Okay? So and we were the market makers in the stock. So my clients made money while I made money, and it was a lot of fun. And I had guys sitting there telling me, why do you want to play professional football? You're making more money working here than you are playing ball. But, I knew what I was put on this planet to do. Hell, when I finished playing in the NFL and CFL, I was out of ball for a year. I tore the crap out of my knee. They told me I'd never play again. I worked as a broker for, and I'm one of the few guys in the state of Florida that actually took the Series 7 test twice. Passed it, then I let it lapse when I went back into the USFL. Okay? Then I had to retake the test. And I saw the expansion of the securities industry in South Florida. When I studied for the test, we had one guy who trained us. There were 20 of us in the room. When I came back a couple years later, there were 1,000. Okay, so I've always been one step ahead of the pulse of what's going on in this country. I honestly think, Scotty, that you and I are going to light it up with our show in social media if we can find some people that are smart enough to promote us. Because I was just listening to these guys from Barstool Sports, and no disrespect to them, all there was a lot of fluff, a lot of music, a lot of jive talking. But when it comes to the real content, they can't hold a candle to us because of our experience.
Right.
And you've been in business for 40 years.
Right.
Okay, I've been lucky. I've been involved. I've been in the room with the President of the United States. I've been in the room with the guy that invented Google. I've been in the room with guys that are the best football players on the planet. I've been on the sets with the greatest actors. That is just fun stuff. Okay, but they all have a similar theme. They're all really good people. Mm-hmm. They all work extremely hard. Okay, and they paid a huge price to get where they're at. Okay, and so you respect them. All right, so you can't either you're a pretender or you're a contender. Okay, this is one of the things that I see today in the youngsters is they don't have a lot of respect for the history of anything. Okay, because they just they watch a video and they think they know everything. Hell, you should sit down and interview people.